Sí, ya está en silencio. ¿Cuándo quieras? Buenos días a todos y a todas. Mi nombre es Enrique García, director de Vía Libre, empresa de la Fundación 11. Quisiera, en primer lugar, agradecer a la organización esta invitación y haciéndola extensiva al Ayuntamiento de Ávila, que nos ha procurado una estancia aquí agradable.
We are going to talk about labor integration of disabled people in tourism. The speakers that are with me today, that I am going to introduce as long as they are going to make their presentations, they will tell us experiences and good practices in employing disabled people in the tourism sector. In this 4th Congress, we are talking about rights of people and enjoyment of activities in tourism and leisure, the quality of it. We also express that the people who best know the needs of disabled people and other groups of people with special needs, such as elderly people, are the very people. There are some questions we would like to answer with the people that are here today with me. Is the tourism sector aware of the potential of employing disabled people? Of the value they can give to the sector, of the action they can carry out to promote integration? Are they aware of the challenges and problems of the labor integration of these people? Each speaker will have a 15-minute intervention. And if we have time left, there will be a discussion afterwards. And I am going to give the floor to Silvio Gramola from Luxembourg. He will talk about employment of disabled people as a model for future generation. Silvio Gramola is the National Director of Training and Disability People. He worked in the field for more than 30 years and took part in different European projects and activities. He's technical counselor for the Luxembourgese Museum of Family. He contributes to the development of the accessibility label. Silvio, I'll give you the floor.
Very much, Mr. Chairman. So, as many things have already been said these last days, I probably will not use all my 15 minutes, leaving then 3 or 4 minutes to my colleague Anna Grazia, who has a lot of very interesting examples to show you. So, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to this very interesting conference. So, what I will show you is, I will introduce the European Disability Forum briefly to you. Then I will go to accessibility as a right and as a guarantee for quality, accessibility as a potential, accessibility and employment, of course, because this is a topic of this session. I will go to the shared responsibilities coming from the EU legislation, and then finally the conclusions. So, the European Disability Forum is a cross-disability organization and represents something like 80 million persons with disabilities. It is an advocacy organization at European level, fighting against discrimination and promoting the human rights of persons with disabilities. And so this is a political work done by the EDF, but we really need the creativity and the input from the organizations of and from people with disabilities in order to put the political strategies into practice. So this is very important, and I think this is also one of the key messages of this conference on how to put all the strategies and concepts into practice. So accessibility as a right and as a guarantee for quality. It has been said in many presentations the last 2 days, and it is obvious that the right to travel and accessing tourist activities is a key social right for people with disabilities. So to be denied the freedom of travel means to be excluded from participation in the society, and therefore there is a real strong need for a strong legislation, for a strong legislative framework. So legislation is important, we know, but it is not enough. If there are no accompanying measures, then legislation by itself cannot solve all the problems, and one of the very repetitive examples of exclusion is people with disabilities being denied from boarding aeroplanes when they want to go for holidays or when they want to organize their journeys. We all know, and it has been said in several presentations, that accessibility responds to human diversity. But the implementation of accessibility in accommodations, in information, in transport and destinations is still a challenge. We have seen it. So Design for All can be a very valuable tool to come over this challenge. Because Design for All calls for networking and cooperation, so it is a call for putting together all the competence, the expertise, the experience of many diverse actors. And in such networks, referring to different kinds of disabilities helps to better understand human diversity and to improve environments and services in a way to better meet the needs of many different kinds of clients and guests. We have also seen that accessibility has a very huge potential. So, studies have demonstrated that persons with disabilities and their families constitute a very important market potential, especially in times of economic crisis and of demographic development. Environments and services designed in a way to offer comfort and quality for all since the beginning do not necessarily cost more, and it is cheaper than to make modifications and adaptations at a later stage. We know that adapting the existing stocks, the existing infrastructure is far more challenging, but if combined with maintenance and renovation work, the impact can be lowered. In any case, the Design for All generates a lot of potential for business and innovation. And we have also seen that it is not only people with disabilities that benefit from Design for All and accessibility, so all the clients can benefit from a better comfort and quality. So the expectations and the needs of the tourists are changing. And it is important to adapt the service provision to these changing needs and expectations. In the tourism industry, like in all other fields where service for clients and guests is important, it is important also to look at the skills and at the training of the staff. So these are very important factors. And in this context, the employment of people with disabilities can improve the service and the quality because most of them can easily understand the barriers that have to be faced. In times of economic crisis, tourism still succeeds in creating jobs and even new jobs are coming up because due to the trend of deinstitutionalization, people want to travel alone. They do not want to travel in big groups from institutions. So people with disabilities claim the right for traveling alone, and then on their destination they would like to access different kinds of services. So new jobs, new services can come up. So we really have to consider people with disabilities as economic actors and not only as beneficiaries of social assistance. We have seen all over the presentations these last days that the responsibilities have to be shared among many different actors, and so the EU legislation can serve as a catalyst. We know that the EU has limited competencies regarding the tourism policy because the legislations in the different member states vary. But due to the Lisbon Treaty, the significance of tourism has been recognized, and the EU can take actions in order to support, to coordinate and to supplement the activities of the member states. European activities like the European Accessibility Act or the European Mobility Card enhance the freedom of movement and encourage people with disabilities to travel. Mandates for standardization or initiatives like the Access City Award are also very important incentives from the European Commission. But there is a strong need for the creativity of the member states, of the organizations of people with disabilities, of individuals. And it is a chance real for people with disabilities to get involved and to participate, to take up these challenges. So it's no time for resignation or frustration due to bad experiences, and this should not lead to inactivity. The first step to be done could be to valorize local, regional, national tourist offers and to create holistic packages and to publicize them in an accessible format in order to encourage people to travel and to create local, regional partnerships. So a holistic and ambitious approach is needed. So, as a conclusion, I would say that we have to realize the full potential of the accessible tourism for everyone, not only people with disabilities, and we have to go to holistic approaches and to a coordination of policies. And then what I have noticed these last days is that many sentences started with the words "we should." And now we should go over and make it happen in order to allow people with disabilities to travel and enjoy their holidays. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Silvio. Además,
Thank you very much, Silvio. I'm very grateful because we have a bit of delay. So thank you very much because it was short and clear, and that helps to the development of our session. As we can see, we keep on talking about rights, about potential, training, and of course about business, about this potential business. Our next speaker, Ana Gracia Laura from Italy, from Rome. She has a degree in politics. She has developed a professional career in Alitalia Airlines at the marketing department and planning. She has developed and she has collaborated for the travel market, developing with accessibility criteria. She is part from the COIN, an organization involved in employment for disabled people. She has the responsibility to develop through the tourism department this aspect. I give you the floor, Ana Gracia. Welcome.
I would like, can you hear me? No? It works? Looks like. I would like to thank the organizers, first of all, for inviting me here and to give me the opportunity to talk about the possibilities of employment for people with disabilities, which is an important issue for the organization I work in. And I would like to start by asking myself and all the audience a number of questions. Is working a right? And I would say that the answer is yes. The Convention of People with Disabilities and the Article 27 states quite clearly that the state parties recognize the right of people with disabilities to work, and they promote all the opportunities to make it happen. But there's another important document which is the European Disability Strategy for 2010-2020, and also in this document, the goal is to enable many more people with disabilities to earn their living on the open labor market, and with a particular focus on the categories, or one of the categories which much more penalized in these years of crisis, young people, and also to develop and support the self-employment and quality jobs for people with disabilities. But the second question is not concerning the rights, but is concerning the fact if working for people with disabilities is easy. And I would go through a few figures that demonstrate, like in developing countries, 80 to 90% of people with disabilities of working age are unemployed. In industrialized countries, this figure is between 50 and 70. So, I mean, it's not an encouraging one. And these figures date back to 2005. A couple of examples for Italy and Spain. In Italy, the employment rates of people with disabilities between the age of 15 to 44, if compared to non-disabled workforce, is 18 compared to 54. This is an analysis made also in year 2005, and I found a very interesting document produced by CERMI concerning the employment of young people with disabilities, and these figures refer to 2008, and in Spain there are about 29% of people with disabilities employed compared to about 57% of people without disabilities. And I would like to draw your attention to the fact that, as you've seen from the sources, all these figures are before the crisis. So I do expect that this situation is much worse now than it was before. Other problems linked to the possibility of working for people with disabilities are into barriers that are in terms of attitudes, stigma towards the fact that some employers do not recognize the possibility or the ability of people with disability to work. Lack of inclusive education. We will see in an example in a few minutes how the level of education is a must to achieve and to reach some jobs. Lack of training opportunities, lack of accessibility in transport and structures and facilities where people with disability would have to perform their job activities. And we also heard, and Silvio mentioned it before, that the lack of accessibility in tourist facilities is also a barrier for staff that could be employed in those facilities. And this comes to my last point, the accessibility of the workplace as such. Another point refers to the possibility of people with disabilities to show that they can do some activities as a personal profile. Is a demand for overqualification, is a low level of vacant positions, and normally when the jobs are offered, what they earn are lower wages. And again, I come back to the one of the points that I dealt with before, a lack of education and vocational training and reasonable accommodation. I was mentioning an example, and this is the list of requisites that UNESCO requires to apply for a job vacancy in their premises, which are very interesting, very interesting jobs, but the level of profile that you have to have is extremely high, and even if, in terms of equal opportunities, they suggest that people with disabilities, the last line, are encouraged to apply, the gap between what they do require and what the normal education system for people with disability offer on the market is extremely high. On the other hand, the tourism industry can offer a lot of opportunities. The flexibility of the tourist job market itself, the high degree of part-time job, and the possibility to be employed in SMEs might encourage people with disability to apply for a job, and where every kind of skills are required. On the other hand, these opportunities counterpart the risk, which more or less are represented on the other side of the mirror. A lot of mobility is required. Multilingual qualification is required in a tourism activity, which is normal, which is required by the tourism activities themselves, but sometimes they clash with the level of education that workers with disability might have achieved. Multitask qualifications, particularly, as I said before, if you have an opportunity in SMEs, you can't be on a single job only, but you have to go around all the possible activities that are required, and the seasonality of employment. But still, those are good opportunities and good possibilities to be employed. One of the other questions that we may ask is, does the industry really need them? How people with disabilities can make the difference? And I'm quite positive in saying that they make the difference. They can understand customers with disabilities' needs to a real wider extent. They may add on a peer-to-peer position. They may provide, and they may understand the needs, and they may provide solutions, accurate solutions and targeted solutions. They may contribute to the overall quality of service, and let's say that all these may also create an added value for the competitive position of the company they might be hired in. And if this happens, the job demand and the job offers would eventually meet. The workers with disabilities can easily become customers of the tourism industry, together with their family, their friends, and all their social environment. They will be workers looking for a holiday destination when they have their yearly vacation period. What are the areas where they can be employed? And if you look at the list, many of the areas face the criticism that has been outlined yesterday and today in the presentations. They can collect and distribute information, and we might be sure that these information are passed through the expertise and experience of people with disability themselves in order to make them reliable. They can act as contact staff for public information services, where normally you don't find staff enough prepared to answer the questions of tourists with disabilities. They can be tourist planners, they can be consultants. In brief, they can be staff able to support, suggest, and solve the problems in the critical area of the trip organization, along the whole service chain. We heard a lot about the service chain, the travel service chain, before departure, during the stay, and in the holiday destination. I would like to go very quickly through the criticism that before departure, tourists with disability may find: lack of information on available aids, lack of awareness on the needs of tourists with disabilities to be able to provide the needed information and services. Transport has a lot of criticism as well, and the accessibility of the means itself, the procedures to reach the transport whenever available and accessible, the low accessibility of the local transport, and in all these long lists, which I want to examine point by point, People with disabilities can really make the difference in suggesting, finding and providing solutions. During the holiday, whenever you find out that what you expected is not there, and they can help you to find suitable solutions. Let me go now to some answers that are provided. I would then show you a couple of examples, and then I will talk about what we as a cooperative do in terms of supporting tourists with disabilities from the point of view of our disabled colleagues. A core system, a core company has a long-standing initiative and approach to inserting people with disabilities in their facilities. They have signed a formal declaration with the unions. They have included statements of non-discrimination in their recruitment procedures. They have more than 550 employees in all their group facilities, and 47 were hired in 2008. This is a big group. This is a small enterprise, an SME, based in Budapest, who they made out of the employment of people with disabilities in their premises one of the major goals of their existence, and the result was that they have now 95% of the staff working with them being disabled, and they have doubled their profits in the last few years, showing that it's possible to combine social goals with a successful business performance. A short bad example. This is a kind of self-employment situation in Disneyland, where persons with disability hire themselves in order to help non-disabled people to skip the queues. What can be an answer to the denied employment of people with disabilities? The social economy in the European Union, which represent 10% of the European GDP, more than 1 million workers, 3.3% of active population in Italy, and as President Barroso stated, it can become a real engine for growth. Out of social economy comes the social enterprise experience in Italy, and the social enterprise, like the group that I represent, is the answer to the problems of denied employment. And we have very positive figures, even in these years of crisis, meaning that, as Silvia said previously, probably the tourism sector is providing a kind of stable situation for employment. In 2012, there were more than 12,000 cooperatives active in the social field in Italy, and more than 310,000 disabled people employed. If I have a few minutes more, and I ask the moderator to tell me when I have to stop, I would like to shortly outline our experience. We are a group of 26 social and integrated cooperatives, and as a whole, we employed 4,000 working members. Half of them are people with disabilities. 50 of them are employed in specific tourism for all activities. Our colleagues from one of the cooperatives cooperated in a major project with the Ministry of Cultural Heritage called Ad Arte, a big project to provide information on cultural heritage facilities all over Italy, and you may find information on this project also on the website of the Ministry of Cultural Heritage in Italy. We have a number of supporting information services. The one at national level, Superabile, is out of the support that public bodies always gave to the possibility of employing people with disabilities, financing local, regional and national contact centers. In here, we have a number of inquiries, about 280,000 inquiries since 2001, and they answer on a lot of issues regarding the life of people with disabilities. And I would like to point out job insertion, helping people who get into the contact center to find the ways of being employed, and tourism and leisure time. And in the portal that supports all these, we have more than 13,000 contact dailies. This is an image of our portal, and in order to see how many people we have, this contact center and the whole system is staffed by 50 people, 29 being disabled, who manage the contact center themselves, who look for information, who check the information and process the data, who consult the people contacting them on major issues, and improve the process and the ICT system that bakes, this is behind all the structure itself. Going to local service, Roma per Tutti is another, well, literally translated Rome for everybody, is another financed activity by the municipality of Rome, and also Roma per Tutti employs people with disabilities. They are 17 people altogether, and 14 of them are with disabilities, and have processed more than 61,000 inquiries since the service started. And I would like to close and conclude showing you how this Roma per Tutti system has become a laboratory on diversity on the territory. Through awareness raising, by cultural visit and with guides with disabilities, identification of existing barriers with the support of students from primary and secondary school, and planning of solution, again asking the students to provide their own solutions. And my last part of the presentation will be a quick set of photographs, so I have no more than 30 seconds left. What they do in town, they explore difficulties with the support of a disabled guide and get notes. What they do in an ecological area, they go through it and again see how difficult it may be to be accessible for everybody. In one of the major sites near Rome, again they look what's happening, and they listen to the suggestions and to the hints that the guide with disability is giving them in order to support their suggestions. And they end up with exhibitions of ideas, projects and proposals in a big event that is held every year, where everyone is wishing to answer questions and to provide their solutions, and everyone is quite happy to show that they got an award for the best proposal submitted. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Ana Gracia. Como vemos, si nos ponemos en manos de la juventud, de los niños, seguro que esa sensibilización para que las ideas
the ideas and work in accessibility terms will be successful. I encourage the speakers to continue to be participative. Now it's the turn of Scott Rain's turn. He's a consultant in tourism industry, and he has not been able to be present here. You can see his work on his webpage, where he shares experience on tourism and accessible traveling. The next speech in accessible tourism are two experiences that take place in Spain, in Castilla y León, and they will be given by Jorge de Dios and Gregorio López. Jorge is a manager of a cooperative society, Asprodes association in Spain. Since 2008, he is a technical of a foundation. He has a bachelor's degree in economic sciences, master in sustainable development. When you wish, Jorge, please. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to be able to introduce these employment projects. I want to seize the opportunity to talk about employment in a country where the unemployment rate are the highest in the European Union after Greece. In terms of youth unemployment, we have 50% unemployment rate. So it's a good opportunity to talk about employment. Good practices we are going to present today in the new projects we are developing are carried out by two agencies involved with disabilities in Castilla y León. So I'm going to share the speech with my colleague, Gregorio López. We are going to talk about two associations, Asprodes, Salamanca, and Fundación San Cebrián. They are family associations, associations of disabled peoples. They have been existing for 57 years. They provide service to intellectually disabled people in terms of housing, residence, job centers, job workshops, employment special centers. I want to make clear that the experiences we are going to share today with you, we are not talking about tourism multinationals. The two associations that are collaborating together with another 18 associations carry out in the framework of this Círculos network a project called Circles of Social Innovation, financed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Environment. And their aim is to improve the life quality of disabled people in the rural area. They work on a wide range of fields in terms of transport, ICTs, social participation of disabled people, matters related to education, issues related to health and accessibility in their own area. We have counted on the collaboration of Fundosa Vía Libre, it's a project that analyzes the employment issue. This project I am talking about, Circle of Social Innovations, a support model for disabled people in the rural area, is justified by the fact that 12% of the population in the rural area is disabled. And secondly, because they are doubly disabled, and discriminated because of the environment where they live in. I'm going to start the presentation of the good practices. There is a principle in each speech. The presentation shouldn't have too much text. So we haven't taken it into account because we wanted to show you in one single slide, from the point of view of the change theory, that after identifying a problem, we have found solutions and objectives. We have developed activities. We are going to present in detail and with photos. And the impacts of these activities we have carried out. I wanted to emphasize in terms of impact, these initiatives in rural areas are economic, social, and environmental impacts. And I would like to give examples as economic impacts. We have been able to create 15 jobs for cognitive disabled people, and we want to create jobs for 31 people. The turnout is 200,000 euros, and per year. And in the period 2013-2015, we want to reach 500,000 euros. The rural area, the Spanish rural area, has some features which we have to take into account. That is, the incomes are generated outside this area. These are territories that have very limited capacity in terms of income generation. I will want to emphasize from the social point of view that these 6 projects that we present will be carried out in the rural area, in centers that are very scarce in the rural area. These are training centers for the people in the rural area. And from the social point of view, this project mean the recovery of the historical heritage, the recovery of some historical buildings that otherwise would be ruined. We have had to invest a €1 million investment. But the investment we are going to do from now on are up to €3 billion. So we are going to value the heritage. These are proposals that take into account sustainable tourism, the Palencia case will be explained by my colleague. Is related to recovery of wetlands. This is what we wanted to show you in this slide, related to the theory of change. I don't want to stop at any single point, but I would like to emphasize one issue in terms of employment of disabled people and access to employment of these people. The employment rate for these people is 35%, related to the general people. The expectations to achieve a job are much lower in the case of disabled people. From the qualitative point of view, in the rural area, we come up with a transport problem, a public transport and accessible public transport that make possible for the people to take part in training programs that are needed in order to have access to employment. From the training point of view, we come up with a problem. We don't have adapted materials. We don't have pedagogical material adapted to this kind of people, or adapted to cognitive disabled people. There are other technical issues. I want to emphasize a detail. A training certificate promoted by the European Union. There are some requirements. There is a requirement in terms of a training certificate, and there are many disabled people who don't have access to this kind of training.
Well, seeing this, the solutions, not entering in details of this problem, our answer to all of these problems in 2 points, that those entities that we are here today, our 2 associations, we have decided to start training programs long-term, about 400 training hours, not just short courses, 6-8 hours, which is the typical. No, we are talking about long training in order to achieve these professional certificates. And we are doing all this with adapted materials, because we are adapting them. We are looking for, we are trying to look for accessibility with the administration, so that once we have finished with these training courses, at least we can have a professional certificate, because the required studies level is too high for us. So we have decided to promote our own employment initiatives through a center, through special job centers, as we call them in Spain. So due to the lack of employment in the ordinary market, we have to promote our own initiatives. So it's not only employment and training, but a wide range of support that the people with disabilities needs. And also in the rural area, we provide transport and housing to our workers. I don't know what's happened with the slides. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work. I need the 5th slide. Thank you. Good morning. I am going to tell you about the San Cebrián Association. Well, you already know what kind of association we are. I am going to explain the projects in terms of accessible tourism and about employment insertion for people with cognitive disabilities. we have started different projects as the Posada Miranda de Castañar, a hostel in Salamanca. Well, I just point them out, and I will talk you. Well, Jorge will talk about the Salamanca projects. In Palencia, the first tourist resource that we had access was the Castilla Canal. It's a tourist resource. Before the economic crisis, was financed through employment workshop. The first goal wasn't tourist, really, not to use it as a tourist center. It was just to train these disabled people in the area of working with woods, and then to use this resource as an occupational center and social meeting point in a rural area. But by coincidence or due to the circumstances, the three local governments with a common interest, which is the Castilla's Channel, there was a convention among the Burgos, Palencia, and Valladolid provinces belonging to the Castilla's Channel. We can see it at the slide. It's 200 kilometers long, this channel. So when we saw the output that we were having after refurbishing this old building, which was a store, then instead of using it as an occupational center, we wanted to make it a kind of museum, a museum for the Castilla's Channel. So we saw the opportunity, and then we accessed to change the aim of this infrastructure. So sometimes we get to the things through a long programmation, as my colleague said, and other times it's just by chance and because of the circumstances. And here we could see the possibilities that we had through a tourist excellence plan through the Castilla's Channel. There are many buildings, different stores, different old houses. It's part of the industry archaeology of this resource. So the three local governments has a goal to develop this resource in a tourist way. By the way, I guess you might be thinking how it is possible that in this accessible, how it is possible that we can see the stairs. Well, this is the main entry, and at the right-hand side there is another main entry without stairs. This is just one of the entries, yes, with the stairs, but the whole building is accessible, and all the explanations are through new technologies, models. It's completely accessible, and it has two disabled employees. Regarding development, I will put it in the context of projects between a positive financial situation and the crisis one. So here we have refurbished this house on the left side. It is in Fromista. We can see one of the parts of the channel in this area, which is share. It shares another with the Santiago Road. we have thought the Hydrographic Confederation of the Duero, which is the owner of all the buildings along the Castillas Channel, has authorized us during 5 years to develop a project, to develop an information and meeting center where those two roads, the Faith Road, Santiago Road, and the channel of Castilla, where, well, up to now we only had economic resources enough to refurbish the ceiling. Of course, we can find collateral impacts for the people with disability and for their employment. So here we are trying to gather more resources in order to finish the refurbishment of the building. Well, here there's another example. There's a future project. I could like to emphasize important elements from this project. This project is located in Rivas de Campos, 5 kilometers away from our head office of the San Cebrián Association. We are very interested in developing this project because there are stores, houses, old farms. As you can see in the picture, is where the is the starting of the whole work of the Castillas Channel. It has been refurbished through this plan of tourist excellence that I have been talking before. Then we can see how ruined is this part of this building, which is the old hydroelectric central. It's a very big place, and it requires at least 2 million euros in order to rebuild the whole. What we want to do is to widen the project. Let's see that the project tries to combine heritage and landscape. Heritage could be represented with the Santa María la Real Foundation. It's a foundation working in Palencia, which goal is to recover and maintain the architect heritage of their area. And another foundation in this alliance is the Global Nature Foundation, which works in the same territory, managing lakes, birds observatories, and fauna conservation. Here the project is about the preservation of the wetlands beside the Castillas channels, and of course the fauna observation. This is a project which is already in a crisis situation. Is within this context that we have no resources. This project, we have a proposal to carry it out through this resource from the old hydroelectric central, which means to get an economic resource which allow us to intervene as it is required in the whole environment. Well, here we are waiting to get some concessions from this. Of course, we find some legal problems where we are looking for the final decision. But, well, let's say if we get the whole space to develop our projects or not, we will see. The most important part of this project is the alliance with other entities. To integrate people with disabilities, with preservation of the environment. There are projects to integrate different things. Well, my colleague is worrying me about my time, and he's going to carry on. Well, I just want to tell you about one of the experiences. This is a rural tourism inn from Miranda del Castañar. I just want to explain this initiative in Salamanca. It's just 1 hour from here. This inn is recovering some rooms from the town hall. The town hall gave us this building. We recover it to use it as an inn. Is one of the best places because it has a very important role. There are 7 disabled people working there. We are bidding for the tourist quality. It's the first rural hotel in this area. In second place is thanks to a joint bid in this territory from different stakeholders, not only the town hall, the local government of Salamanca, when they allowed us to provide long trainings for these young people who nowadays they are working at the inn, but there's another group, is the local association, agriculture in the mountain. It's a project from 2006 that was a project financed by the European community in order to promote initiatives in the rural area to improve the financing up to 500,000 euros, and we achieved the exceptionality because it wasn't allowed to have more than 50 workers, and we achieved this exception for our kind of associations, insertion associations, so that we could reach the 200 workers in order to access to these helps, this financing, because in 2007 and 2013, with the old programations, this project wouldn't be possible. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Jorge and Gregorio, representatives of Asprodes and San Cebrián, and thank you for the examples you have given us of rural tourism, who employ projects in which disabled people are employed. They have come up with some problems. They have mentioned transport. Many times during this conference we have mentioned tourism as a problem, as a barrier that also is a barrier to in terms of access to employment. This is also a challenge. We're going to go to the Middle East with Ibrahim Abu Khalil from Jordan. He is the representative of MENA in Enat. He's president of a consulting company in tourism. He has been consultant president of the Europe Arab Tourism Organization. He has been coordinator for the Euro-Arab Investment Research Network. He has worked in many countries in the Arab world. He has worked he is a social worker. He has a master's degree. He has a bachelor's degree in sociology and philosophy by the University of Jordan. So I give the floor. Welcome, Ibrahim. You have the floor.
Buenos días. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. Originally, I'm a Palestinian, Jordanian, and one of those lucky people, Palestinian, Jordanian, and a British national. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present a region which is not part of Europe, but they have a number of bilateral cooperation and agreement, and one of them is the Euromed. My presentation is for you, it's not for me, because this presentation is, I'm trying to invite your attention that if I am traveling to Europe, the accessibility is advanced better. But if you want to come to my region, accessibility is still need a little bit of work. So that's why, and I hope that will be a careful listening to this presentation. Hopefully that it will give you the opportunity when you want to travel to this region, which have many attractiveness, that you will have more accessibility. This presentation is a personal one because I have a dream since 1978 that to see the region as accessible, because I had the opportunity to go to Norway, and I was surprised to see the first time that people with disability can go for holidays. And from that time, I was thinking that I would like really to see that my region or my town, my village to be accessible. The second thing, I believe that if we have more people to work in the tourism, more disabled people, I think that will help to accelerate and improve accessibility growth in the region. The lesson I learned is that the more people that we have to come to visit the region with access need, the more I think accessibility will become more accessible. The fourth thing that I have a wishful that when we look at the people with access needs from the region, that they are the same people, and I hopefully that we look at it as here, as accessibility should be for everyone, as everybody is calling. Sorry. What happens here? No. Yeah. It's a little bit difficult for me, this one. Yeah. I would like to highlight a few things. First of all, I would like to talk about the status of the people with accessible needs or people with disability in the region, accessibility status, and what is the market potential and employability for both the European and the people from the region. The second thing I will be talking about, what is this initiative? Why we need this kind of initiatives and need the support of everyone? And then what is the business case for this fund, and who could be the stakeholder from the region and from Europe, and what is the fund proposal? But before this, I would like really just to show a video.
Hey man.
How you doing?
What's your name?
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. So who's here with you today?
My mum, my cousin, my auntie, and my brother.
How old are you?
Well, actually, I'm not exactly sure. When I was originally found in Iraq, in an orphanage, my mum found me. I was born with no birth certificate, no passport, nothing. My story is that I was born in the middle of a war zone. My brother and I, we were found by the nuns in a box in a park, in a shoebox. They brought me to the orphanage. We'd hear shots, noises that we didn't understand. It was like looking at an angel when Mum, Moira Kelly, walked through the orphanage door. She brought us both to Australia for surgery originally. And then sort of Mum fell in love with both of us. My hero would have to be my mother. She worked very, very hard, extremely hard, to change my life hugely. You know, some people will say I was a man without an identity, but with my mother and with my brother, I believe that I can do this, you know.
Wow, good on you, man.
Thank you.
Good on you, man. So what are you going to sing?
I'm going to sing Imagine by John Lennon.
Beautiful. Whoa. Good luck, mate.
Thank you. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Yahoo! Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to live or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Whoa, man.
I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Thank you.
Thank you. Emmanuel is like any people. And that's why accessibility has to be open for everyone. Not just for Emmanuel, not for the Spanish, not for the French. It has to be for everyone. Whether you have a country or your religion, those people with access they have the right. And we need to work on this. The video, the message of the video, one thing. If Emmanuel is still in Iraq, he's dead. And that's what he said. And this initiative, if we cannot work together to support it, Emmanuel find the right environment, the right mindset, and that's why he became Muisi. And this accessibility, if we cannot have the same support from all of us together, then the people in the region will not have the same chance like anybody else. If we talk about accessibility, the status of accessibility in the region, causes of accessibility are the same, except we have special causes which we have a lot of armed conflicts, We have mines. We have obesity. The Bedouin no more anymore. They are slim. They are now with this new development of food. We have more obesity. If we talk about the traffic, I think we are the second region after Latin America. We have a lot of accidents. And the other thing that also the occupations, the accident in the work, because the safety is not like Europe. So these are the special causes for the region. In the mini region, the status is the following. When I'm saying about out of pushing, influence, incentive, grants, and fund facilitation, this is not my words. These are the words of the president of the Arab disabled organization. This is what he said. We only have this convention of the 16 countries because of the influence of the West, because of the fund, because of the grant. And this is accessibility. It needs the same thing. We need more support, more initiatives in order to encourage the other people from the region really to support this. The 16 Arab countries who signed the UN conventions, when it comes to execution, as my colleague said, that some of the countries, they are poorly executed it, and some of them are very good. Implementation to access codes, they are also varies from country to country. If we talk about the concept, we still have the kind of the religious, the culture, and the mindset when we talk about accessibility. That's why there are parts of accessibility in the region is like Europe in the past 50, 60 years. So that is the situation and the status of disability in the region. And that's why employment, it still is not right. It's been written as right, but it's not right for people with access needs. If you talk to the MENA region, the people, they think that we are still young generation. We are not. This data shows that in 1980, the old people over 65 is only 5 million in the region. 2000, they became double, 10 million. And by 2010, 14 million. And 2020, it will be about 20.3 million people. So the aging is coming, and there is a study saying that I think the Middle East will be witnessing by 2050 is the same like Europe is now. So the aging population is already there. But the region also, with all these atrocities, the region has a lot of potential. This is data show that in 2020, the region expecting 170 billion. Investment, what happens?
La imagen se ha ido de la pantalla. De la pantalla que vemos nosotros se ha ido la imagen.
So these figures that I'm talking about, this is the potential of the region. I'm trying to say, okay, let us do it right from now. Since we have a lot of potential of facilities, what is our strategy to make it from now to make it more accessible for the coming generation? When they want to come to the region, they will find this is more accessible. So that what is it? What is our strategy as a platform here of accessible experts? What lesson can we learn from the experience of the European now at this stage when they already have a little bit of challenges? They advance in these challenges. Investment. The expectation in 2025 is 4 trillion in the region. Hotels, there are over more than 1,170 by 25. There will be in new hotels. Rooms, they were expecting of 820,000 by 2025. Aircraft, there is about 1,130 aircraft. Now, what is our strategy for those potentials? How many employment they will create for both Europeans and for the people on the local level? The MENA I'm sorry. Okay. This is what is the UNWTO, and that's in April by the Secretary General in Dubai in April, what he said, that the region spent $30 billion outside, $30 billion. We receive about 50 million tourists in the region, and those people, they spend 50 million USA dollars. And I would like really to see how far we are planning in the future to be this region to be accessible. Then we can have more people to be employed, and the trickle down of the 50 billion will be benefiting those people with access needs. The status in the region is very simple. I think we are in the region, we are dancing in the dark, and the Europeans are not aware about this potentiality and how we are going to work together with it. Poorly understood accessibility in the region. They are poorly underdeveloped. We are not aware enough about the sustainability is connected to accessibility. No awareness of the contributions of accessibility if it's developed for creating both jobs for the economy and jobs for both region, Europe and the MENA region. Employability. I will give you just, we have the same, I think all my colleagues, Ana Gracia and Sylvia all mentioned same thing. We have similar challenges. But the people in the region, they want and need to work in tourism for the same reason as everybody else. But we have the same challenges. One of the challenges, we don't have institutions. They have a qualified training. Then the other challenge, we don't have, some institutions are unwilling or unable. Then we have the other challenge, which also the cultural mindset, which as Ana Gracia mentioned some of it, which is there is a kind of stigmatization for people with access need to work there. And even the word in Arabic, the word of disability is called i'aqa. I'aqa is a very tough word, and old people, they can't, ajiz, you cannot do anything. So we need to work on this stigmatization in order to be able those people to be to contribute and to be integrated. Ratification, we still have the same problem, so we need hopefully to lobby more in order for employment to be as a right. I'll give you an example. This is a study done by the American University in Sharjah, and the study was saying that this study was targeted to students at the university, and they are in the future, they want to open their own business. And they've been asked, would you employ people, disabled people? 27% they said yes, and the rest they said no. 73% they said no, and 27% said yes. 64% they said it will be a burden on my business. So this is the attitude. When they've been asked about which kind of disability, what type you could employ, none said that they will be employing anybody with learning. For the deaf, 17% they said yes, we can have. 2% they said we can employ people with visuals, and for physical they said 23%, and language they said 13%. It just gives you an idea how the attitudes need to be changed. This is a story of Hiba. Hiba, she is got a first-class degree in biochemistry. And this is what her story is. Hiba, what she said. She said, I applied, sent my CV, but I never mentioned that I am a wheelchair, I use a wheelchair. But said when the interview happens, they normally focus on my wheelchair. They did not look at me. The second thing, they ask her a question that, okay, like anyone else. And she answered with confidence, and they asked her, does your disability affect your work? And she said, the answer was no. And then at the end, she said that anybody bothered really to call me back. So this is what is an example of something we need to work on it. But there is an inspiring, and there is a long way to go, but there are inspiring examples, okay? One of these examples, for instance, I was surprised in Lebanon, they have a project in Saha in Beirut, and he employed about 15 people there, and I asked him, and he said to me that he found them, they are better for him because they do not leave the work, they are very dedicated. And so there is a signs of improvement. This is Lebanon. The second one in Kuwait, they have the first McDonald's now. It's been designated for people with access needs. In sign of facilities, this is Dubai. Dubai, they have the underground, and the underground now is accessible, and actually it is free for any traveler with access needs. Gaza, with all the problem, I discovered that in Gaza they have a special restaurant for deaf people. So there is a sign there. In Saudi Arabia, after Inat made a presentation there, they started now, they have restaurants for the blind. There is a signs of awareness of the legal rights. This lady, she is in that hotel. I've been in this hotel several times. She is the president of human rights in Yemen, and there was a debate there. And she now, when they sit on the panel, she could not go to the panel because she has a mobility problem, and she said that I have the right from the hotel to have same thing, the panel to be there. And now she is doing a court case. This is why we need to see these examples, this initiative, we need to support it. We need to see how can we make them to be more. The business case, I think there is the region, as I said to you, the potential, there is a huge potential. Whether we are talking about Saudi Riyal or we are talking about the euro, there is a potential. Why is the potential is this? First, we both, between our region, we have about 150 million. I think the figure earlier about 80 million in Europe, and we said about our 50 million, because most of the registration in the region, we don't really register women with disabilities, and we still hide a lot of people with disability. That's why the figure will be higher. So, as a market, we have a 150 million, it's growing. The contribution of the region, of the MENA region to the tourism in general in Europe, about 25% to 24.7%. This is unmarked and untapped market. The promotion until now is still, we still unprepared, and we are not aware about it. So that's why the current customers are growing, and there is a potential. I'll just be going very quick. Is that what we need to do? We need to go to attract the tourists from this region, learn how to host them, and do training in order to accept them. I have a case here, which is last year in Saudi Arabia when I invited Mr. Jose. He has very problem to come through Saudi airline because he was not confident that they will be losing his wheelchair, and that's why. This is a case where we found it last year in Inat when we set the workshop. What I would like to do, the fund, hopefully that we can fund these training programs, and in order for himself or the others, when they travel, they will be having an access. The fund can be financed by technical assistance, because now when we talk about sustainability, there is normally the European Commission, they said 10% or 5% for the region, it will be go for sustainability. What I would like really to see on the agenda, accessibility to be part of the fund. Then we can encourage more the target can be for vocational training, for lobbying, for building. This is what I'm suggesting, that these institutions, they can put a kind of percentage. This is stakeholders, we can work all of us together on this one. The fund can be as a job creator, and can be a lobbyer, and can be a catalyst. And what I'm looking for, this is an initiative. We just start to plant it. I would like to discuss it, and it has a lot of money, and I hope that look for approval. The final things, INAT, we already been in these countries, so they're aware we can work as partner with INAT. My last thing, I just would like to say to you that we are organizing the first initiative, which will be the first INAT MENA forum for all, and this is an invitation to all of you as participants and as sponsors. Why in Jordan? Jordan, if you said King Abdullah of Jordan, he received the UN award 2005 because Jordan was pioneering in the region. And we hope that to pioneering in the accessibility at the same time. This event will be under the patronage of Prince Saad, and everybody will know about it. Finally, things that accessibility is going to design, because I was surprised to see this is in the region, there's the first dog has been done with accessibility. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. We were able to see that in the region, in this area, there is you need many things, but also it's very hopeful because it can be improved. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the song from Emmanuel, because this is a symbol from John Lennon, and we want to imagine that a better world is possible, that tourism can be improved, because people with disability and special needs will find their place in tourism and in the employment field. And this year we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of ONCE and the 25th of the ONCE Foundation, and the slogan was, because we didn't know it was impossible, we made it. We hope all the initiatives here in the Congress will be real. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.